All right, let's move on to the Rams and the 49er game. That was an interesting game. Joseph's adage, what is it, Joseph? It's hard to beat a team three times in a row, three times in the season.
Times in one season, yeah.
Three times in one season, right. And the 49ers had beaten the Rams twice this year. And more concerning to the Rams, in week 18, the final week of the season, the Rams were playing to win the division. They had to have the Cardinals lose or they had to win. Turns out the Cardinals lost. But then the 49ers were playing for a playoff spot because the Saints ended up winning. So the 49ers had to win, and they were down 17-0 in that game, came back and won to put themselves in the playoffs. And it also pushed the Rams to the 4th seed as opposed to the 3rd seed, which, is neither here nor there right now. But what I'm trying to say is the 49ers were able to execute in a game that meant just as much to the Rams as it did to them. And then, of course, they beat the Rams early in the season. So going into this game, I kind of had the feeling that, the 49ers are going to win this game. What did you guys think about that?
Yeah. Going in, even though, like I said, it's hard to beat a team three times, I did pick the Rams. So I thought the Rams would win. But, the 49ers, I would call them especially throughout the season down the stretch, like a sneaky, very good team. Kind of snuck up on some teams, I think, and you didn't really think much of them throughout the season. I think at one point they were 5-5 or 6-5, and
right.
They just kind of kept winning down the stretch, and put some wins together in the playoffs. And I think they were a formidable opponent. They deserved to be where they got to, but I picked the Rams not only to win. Well, they didn't cover if you're going by the spread, technically,
right?
But I did pick them to win, and I think throughout the course of the season they showed they were a better team, and I think it ultimately proved that way.
Nathan?
Yeah, just in our preview episode, I referenced your little tough to beat a team three times.
Right.
I was, not that I couldn't believe I was saying you referencing it because I know I jumped down your throat last time about using that. But I thought it was more disconcerting for the 49ers that they just beat the Rams in basically the exact same game the last week of the season.
Right.
So they're basically going to replay that game a couple of weeks later. It's tough to win again.
Right.
Had they played that game week 10 or something, I wouldn't have been as big on the three wins thing. It was just that was so close together, and it was in LA both games.
Right.
But I thought the Rams were going to win. I thought they were going to win fairly handily. To Joseph's point, how the 49ers were a sneakily great team. I didn't think. I guess this is why I didn't think this, because they were sneaky, but I didn't think they were that good all year. Even when they were winning and people were talking about them late in the year, I didn't think they were that good.
Sneaky good, not sneaky great. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was surprised when they beat the Packers, just like I was surprised when they beat the Rams at the last game of the season. But I still thought the Rams were going to win. I was hoping the 49ers would win, but I don't dislike the Rams really. I was hoping the 49ers would win.
Well, the interesting thing about that game, the Rams, we'll talk about their defense when we get into our preview mode here for the Super Bowl, but they held the 49ers to 50 yards rushing. And, the interesting thing about that is, you remember the 49ers were ahead in this game 17-7. In fact, they were ahead 17-7 late in the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. So you would think that they would try to run the football in that situation to control the clock, and they weren't able to do it. So the Rams basically said, look, we're going to put the ball in Garoppolo's hands, and we're going to force him to beat us. And he really couldn't. He was 16 of 30, about a 50% pass completion percentage, threw for 232 yards, did throw 2 touchdowns, but was intercepted once. And that interception was the one that sealed the football game.
That wasn't a real one. It was third and long, and he was about to get sacked. It was the last. It was the last thing they had left.
But the one thing about Garoppolo, I like Jimmy Garoppolo, but the one thing about him is you don't see the 49ers throw a lot of passes outside of the hash marks. Garoppolo throws a lot of his passes on screens, a lot of passes to Kittle across the middle, a lot of slants across the middle. He doesn't seem to be able to stretch the field horizontally and get that ball outside of the hash marks. And I think Joe Burrow showed his ability to do that against the Titans and against the Chiefs. Stafford showed his ability to do that throughout the postseason and throughout the season. And I think that's what hampers the 49ers right now. Now, is this guy they drafted, Trey Lance, the answer? I don't think so. But the 49ers, I think, to be able to make that step up, they've got a tremendous defense. They got some really good running backs. I mean, when you look at guys like Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell, I mean, two guys that are just awesome running backs, you got to have a quarterback that can push that ball down the field.
Yeah, I think your description of Jimmy Garoppolo is like the perfect for his like career. Like, they forced Jimmy Garoppolo to beat them, and he couldn't quite do it. Like,
right.
He's a good quarterback. He's an above average quarterback.
Very good. Yeah.
Like, but he just doesn't have quite what it takes to like get it done completely. Like there's something just a little bit missing there, that he can't put it all together and do it. But I thought that was just a great way to describe him.
Right.
Yeah. I'm more of a Garoppolo apologist than you all are, I guess. But I can't argue with that, really. I mean, he, like you said, he's kind of like a I don't want to say he's a game manager because he's better than a game manager, but it's weird, like you said, like he's like an above average quarterback in the league who, like, I don't know, like you said, I don't really have anything to add to that. I can't really dispute it, I guess. But I do think at times too, I think he's an easy target. I mean, like 49ers lose, it must be Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at this point, it's kind of a cliche now that, it's Garoppolo. Like, is it really? Like, maybe it was in this game, but was it? I don't know. Good.
Well, another thing of black mark. I won't say black mark, but you look at George Kittle. I mean, Nathan and I were talking about this a few weeks ago. If I was drafting fantasy again next year, I probably would take Kittle over Kelsey. That's just an opinion.
I also would too, because I think the whole little scheme in Kansas City is going downhill quick.
Right. But my point is, he's a playmaker. Okay. Deebo Samuel is a playmaker. Kittle had 2 catches for 27 yards. He did have a touchdown, but one of your main playmakers, you only got him the ball 2 times. Now, I don't know how many targets. Well, he had 5 targets. Okay. So that's not enough.
Did you think the defense was looking for that one?
Well, they probably were, but don't you think the defense was looking for Kelsey and Tyreek Hill? Kelsey had 10 catches. Tyreek Hill had 7.
Yeah, and you named 2 guys. You can't double cover both guys.
I understand that, but you got Deebo Samuel.
He's in the backfield all the time, Deebo Samuel.
You got Brandon Ayuk. I mean, you got other guys, Juwan Jennings. I mean, my point is, you got to fix. Maybe it's the offensive coordinator. I mean, you got to find ways to get the ball to your playmakers.
You tell me that the Rams defensive coordinator stay up late at night. Who we double cover? Juwan Jennings or George Kittle? Or Brandon Ayuk. Tough decision.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about the Rams too, because they're a team that went all in on and it was kind of a multi-year thing where they went and got Jalen Ramsey. They went and they traded for Von Miller this year. They got Matthew Stafford. They
got Odell Beckham.
Right. They got Odell Beckham halfway through the season. So this scenario where a team went all in and it's worked out for them so far. Like they whatever they gave up, all the picks or the players, it's worth it to win a Super Bowl, and they're in position to do that.
I think it's worked out for them at this point, no matter what happens, because they got to the Super Bowl. I mean,
right.
Even if they lose, I mean, anything can happen one game in the Super Bowl, but they got in there. That's what they wanted.
Right.
Which I mean was and the Stafford thing is a little bit of like, I think it was a good move, obviously, but it was a little bit of a bold move because Jared Goff did get them to a Super Bowl. Like it's not like he was like totally unproven and like, he can't get it done. Like he got him there. I mean, the Patriots beat him, right? Belichick outcoached McVay, but to go ahead and turn away from that and get Stafford, who again, look, I think it was the right move, but it was still a little bit of a risk.
I see what you mean, but I'm not going to give him that much credit for being that risky of a move. I mean, Goff also had a couple years after that to show that like he's probably not going to get you back to the Super Bowl,
right?
And I mean, and he did get into the Super Bowl, so I recognize that. But and I think I was one to say, are they really? I was one to say they're kind of comparable. I think at the time of the trade, I think I said that Stafford was better, but I didn't think he was that much of an improvement. So I have to eat my words on that a little bit. But he's at least not worse than Goff, so it's not that risky of a trade. If anything, you're just gonna be right back where you're at with Goff. You know what I mean?
Well, let's
like
look.
He didn't have any. There wasn't any chance that they were going to get Stafford and be worse of a team, is my point. So it's not that,
I talked about Jimmy Garoppolo, 50% completion. Stafford was 67% completion, 31 of 45, 337, 2 touchdowns. How about Cooper Kupp? 11 catches, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Odell Beckham could be the wild card for the Rams that wins them the Super Bowl. I mean, 9 catches, 113 yards. He actually in the last 6 or 7 games has looked like the Odell Beckham that we saw his first couple years with the Giants. I mean, he's really turned that team around. And then you got Cam Akers, who almost lost the Tampa Bay game for them by fumbling twice, but he had 13 rushes for 48 yards. He also had a catch. Sony Michel, another guy they picked up from the Patriots, 10 rushes for 16 yards, not much, but did catch the ball out of the backfield, I think, once or twice. My point is the Rams have a lot of weapons, and, you know, when they're clicking, it's really hard to beat them. And then you look at that defense, you know, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I mentioned Jalen Ramsey, and Aaron Donald's still there. They got Von Miller, who's a former Super Bowl MVP. So, you know, we said it all year. They were one of the favorites, if not the favorite in the NFC, and it came to fruition for them.